Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
Coffee Ann on ON Radio for this Wednesday morning, December 11th. Thank you for joining us. This is Joe Callahan. Nice to have you along with us as we go around the Coffee Ann table. There's Melissa Smith from the St. Antoine Communities. Hi, Melissa.
Good morning.
Tim Draper from Navigant Credit Union.
Greetings, everyone.
Is that a Navigant thing on, on the sleeve? There we go.
On the sleeve, a coffee mug on my shirt, too.
Very nice.
You look very summery.
You know what? Such a lousy day. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to brighten it up a little bit by
He's
dressing
got like,
I'm
if you
in the
can't
middle
see, he's
of
got
summer.
orange and white. Look like you're going golfing.
I
in
would
the
like to
pouring
be
rain.
golfing. I'm thinking of it.
And here is Citizen John Ward with us.
Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane.
How are you, John?
Mere mortal.
Mere mortal, John Ward.
Good morning.
I know, but you're not in sweatpants, so that's
true. You
good.
get jeans
I'm not
on.
in sweatpants. I
Well,
didn't.
You don't wear sweats when it rains.
I decided to get all dressed up this morning.
Well, thanks.
Is this your big outing for the day? What am I?
This is it.
This is retirement.
This is it. It's
Big
back. After this, it's back in the garage.
All right.
Organizing stuff, cleaning up.
That actually sounds like fun.
All right, Melissa, time for first message from the St. Antoine Communities, please.
So yeah, I'll just take the opportunity to just remind everybody that, you know, of course, St. Antoine Community, we have a full continuum of care located on our property, from assisted living to short and long-term skilled care or rehab, and a brand new memory care assisted living unit. And it's the magical time of year for a lot of reasons, but it's also the magical time of year where families really reconnect over the holidays and kind of get a glimpse on what's going on with maybe an aging parent. And reach out to us to schedule a tour and want to come in and start putting things in motion for placement. So I'm just always, weary of folks that think they can just come right in and resolve that on a little visit with mom and dad for 1 week over the holidays. It may be a little longer of a process than you're anticipating, only because we are at capacity in every level of care, which I'm proud to say, because that also speaks highly of the reputation that we have and why folks move into St. Antoine Community. But this is really just an advisory to tell you to plan ahead. Absolutely come out and take the tour. Absolutely come out and understand the process for placement. But just be sensitive to the fact that we might not be able to help you right there on the spot. We will do our best to accommodate your needs and support you and guide you and help you. But this is just more or less like a public service announcement to have low expectations, and we will try to exceed them as best we can. So if you want more information about the long-term care placement process, absolutely reach out to me at 401-767-3500. Be happy to walk you through your options.
All right there, Melissa. Thank you very much. And we pass this information along to you just in case you're planning on this, but the Roger Williams Park Zoo, no PM activities
I bet.
tonight, which includes the Holiday Lights Spectacular
I
they
bet.
have. Not having it tonight due to the heavy winds.
Wonder if Lost
and
Lot
rain
will
that's
shut down.
coming.
I feel like tonight they might have to because of the high winds.
Yeah.
Nothing yet from La
Yeah.
Salette, but can't take the lights.
Can't go to the monkeys.
I know.
No,
We
no.
were
And
just
you can't go to
talking
the
about,
monkeys, that's right.
I mentioned the fact that on my ride in, I already passed a couple trees that have dropped
Okay.
since I drove through the same street on my way home last night late, and it wasn't down then, so it happened between last night and this morning. But on the news, they were talking about with the drought conditions that a lot of dry trees are going to drop with this 50, 60 mile an hour winds that we're expected to get. So everyone
Probably-
should be safe.
That's why the electric companies got their reserve crews
Yeah.
on standby.
I think that's smart. I feel like hopefully we're
Be needed.
predicting the worst. Let's hope for the best.
I know.
Yeah. All right, other things that are going on. A man from the city of Woonsocket was arrested up in Boston, accused of shooting and killing somebody up there. Yeah.
Oh.
He's one of two suspects charged in the deadly shooting that occurred in Boston. Let's see, 25-year-old Darius Powell of Woonsocket and another suspect were arraigned on Tuesday on charges include unlawful possession of a firearm and unlawful possession of a large-capacity feeding device. Guns and things like that.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
feeding
I was like, what's a
Like a
feeding?
big
magazine.
large spoon, you know?
In my line of
That's a new
work, that
term.
has a lot of different meanings. So I was like, what's the?
No, it's the feeding the gun.
It's called a magazine.
Now I'm following.
thing.
Magazine, I believe they're called.
Well, this one called it a large feeding device. So that took place up in Boston, and a little closer to home, there was a rollover crash on Route 146 South near Breakneck Hill Road last night.
Yeah,
there was.
yeah, that's not good.
Nope, no word on what caused the crash. That we got no word on if anyone got hurt.
Yeah.
But according to Channel 12, an ambulance was seen driving away.
I will tell you, it was very foggy on one. I had to go on
Yeah.
146
All day
south to head
yesterday
to
was foggy.
Providence last night for a track meet, and it was very thick and very foggy and very hard to see.
And
Did
it's
you
going to happen tonight too. Dense
Yeah,
fog
I
is
bet.
coming. It's coming.
I bet.
Did you see the accident?
I did not. I did not. But I'm just justifying. I can see why. And also, you have idiot drivers out there that are going too fast.
That's probably more.
You know, and then you have,
accurate.
you know, the fog. And then I don't know about
Yeah.
anybody else. I always have that issue this time of year. You got like the moisture outside, whatever, and getting the defrost just right in your car so that
Right.
you don't have that like, like that
All of a
sudden
sudden you
like
can't see.
fog over moment where you're like, oh, which button is it?
Yes.
As you're staring at
Don't
the
laugh at
dashboard.
me, John.
No, it's a new car
Don't act
for
like
you,
you're
so you
above it.
can't
I
find-
know this has
I
happened to you.
understand. No, I'm laughing because I understand the what button is it thing.
Yeah.
You know, you
And then
get-
you're trying to hit the temperature to match the temperature outside. So that's really when it clears the fastest is
Yeah.
if you can, you know, but you don't want to have air conditioning on in 30-degree drive.
That
Anyways,
is
I'll be
true.
quiet.
Yeah,
I think I've had
No,
too
no,
much.
that's
I
fine.
coffee.
tend to shut my car off at night with the defroster button pushed, so that when I auto start it, the defroster starts immediately.
Well, aren't you smart?
I am spoiled.
That's like the
because my car-
equivalent.
And
I
I-
think of
and I
this,
crank the temperature
seat
up to high.
heaters. I think of that.
I turn the temperature up to high and I put it on defrost, and then I shut the car off.
Why are you spoiled, Tim?
Because when I hit the auto start on my car, it automatically turns all that stuff on. When the temperature, it senses what the temperature is outside, and if it's below 40 degrees, the seat heater comes on, the steering wheel heater comes on, and the window and the
Well,
You have a
defroster comes
steering
on.
wheel heater?
Wow.
That's my new car problem. My old car I could set before I went into the house at night,
Yep.
and it would stay that way.
Right.
The new one doesn't matter what I set; it's like yours.
Yeah.
The steering wheel heater comes on, the seat
Right.
heater comes on, the heater comes on, but not the defroster. And I wish they would default it
Yeah,
to the
the
defroster.
defroster. Right.
Because
That's what you need.
Unless you're in a garage,
Yep.
that's what you need.
That's right.
That's what you
exactly
need.
what you need. Well, Dodge figured it out.
See, I
All
always
right.
get nervous to put everything on high because I used to do that, and then my dad yelled at me back in the day with my old '86 Ford Escort in high school
Why
because
did he
it
yell
would
at
be
you?
too hard for the car to turn on with all that at full blast. He's like, just put it on medium. You don't need to have it on high. There was obviously no seat warmers back then or anything else. It was just the
Or
defrost and the
steering
flow.
wheel warmers.
Or that.
A little
I mean,
bougie.
it's like the equivalent of baby wipe warmers that they have out now.
Right.
It's like, really?
Right.
Put that cold wipe on that bottom.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
The baby's not going to complain.
They're not going to
And
complain.
if they do, big deal.
They're going to cry they're already crying.
That's right.
that's-
They're already fixed. You're doing it.
All right, question for you there, Citizen Ward. And, just because
Well,
I know you...
I'll say this: the cold wipes would teach the child sphincter control.
Oh, good point. Good point, John. All righty. Since you just came off the council, there are 5 lawsuits that are against
There's a
the
million
city?
lawsuits. Yeah, there's a bunch.
Okay. Is the city just going to have to settle all of them, or are they going to fight? Are they going to fight some of them?
I'm not sure what they discussed. I can imagine
right.
what they discussed Monday night.
Yeah.
I was disturbed and considered the possibility that the new members may be suffering from shock by Tuesday morning when they found out all the intricate details of
What they have to deal with?
how challenging some
Yeah.
of the things they have to deal with. There's going to have to be some kind of settlement because you can't let these cases go on forever. I mean, the one about Walnut Hill is related to values back in 2017 and 18.
Yeah.
There's interest accruing on those if we don't settle. Then if we were to go to court and lose, you'd have to pay the 12% interest, which would be massive. Then there's a dispute with Landmark Medical Center over the tax bills that were charged at the conversion back into nonprofit. There's a bunch of stuff that puts the city at risk for still, despite the $8 million of abatements that have already occurred. There's still a risk of a couple of $1 million to be played with here.
How can the
That has to be said. You just
how can the city afford to pay these lawsuits?
well, it can't. That means the taxpayers are going to be paying.
Okay.
I prepared half of my analysis on the operating budget. I just need to confirm a couple of things about the collective bargaining agreements. But it looks like, right now, we're in something close to a $3.5 million hole, with only $2 million of increased revenue if they raise the tax levy by 4%, or the tax rates levy by 4%. Will still be $1.5 million in the hole. they've got a challenge coming up, a real serious challenge, and that does not involve any of these lawsuits. Unfortunately, what I think is going to be used to pay these lawsuits is the fact that we had $2.3 million of interest earned on the ARPA funds since the money was received. And that is free money that you can do anything you want to do with it, no restrictions. Unfortunately for Woonsocket, because of this lawsuit challenge, right now, more than $500,000 of it is tied up next year with offsetting tax increases for settlements and tax abatement settlements. And the rest of it will probably be wasted doing these lawsuit settlements. So it's not available to use to balance the budget or protect people from tax increases or invest in equipment or capital needs. And so it's effectively going to waste because of a terrible, terrible thing done by the prior administration.
But you got to get rid of it, right? I mean, you got to get rid of these lawsuits and so you can move on.
You can't carry them on forever because,
Right.
like the Walnut Hill Plaza one is a clear losing proposition. The ironic thing is, and it really was disturbing, and I brought it up during the campaign, is the Walnut Hill Plaza valuation that's causing us to have to settle for millions of dollars is exactly the same thing that Susan Menard had to go out and bond $4 million for to settle the lawsuit from taxpayers because of overvaluation of commercial property done by Charlie Baldelli's administration. And we actually,
keeps backing
when
up
you
and
go back
backing
in
up and
history,
backing
when
up.
you go back in history, you find out that it's a game that was played by Charlie Baldelli and lost, and it was Susan Menard that had to go out and get $4 million worth of bonding to pay the bill to settle these lawsuits, because by the time Susan Menard was in, 6 years of Fran Langto had gone by, and we were into the 7th and 8th year of the lawsuits continuing, and they had to settle them. I mean, you just can't let these things drag on forever. And it becomes clear after a while, when you double the value for tax purposes in one shot, clearly there's something wrong. And their arguments that it's wrong going into court won't sell well. So you have to settle, find that middle ground.
Wow.
And in the case of Walnut Hill Plaza, they've been trying to sell the plaza, so they're not looking for a settlement against future taxes. They're looking for cash. And so some of the others, you know, they're smaller, but you just got to put the stuff behind you and stop doing these foolish things and actually just do the job right and not have to contend with it. You always have to contend with disagreements and appeals, but you should never have to confront these kinds of challenges. And I think if anyone ever comes up running for the mayor's office by the name of Baldelli, somebody should put these lawsuits in front of them, both from the Charlie Baldelli era and from the Lisa Baldelli era, because it seems to be a pattern that they followed out of a playbook on how to make yourself look good with low tax rates for residential property owners and end up leaving it, kicking that can down the road for the future to pay for after you're out of office.
Do you think the lawsuits will be settled in 2025?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
again, I don't know how well received it was by the new council members,
Yeah.
but I know that Dan and Valerie are familiar with the details, and Jim Canoyer, I'm sure, is familiar with the details, because those were all still being fought out when he was on the council last, Denise Sierra also. I'm thinking of the three new members who have no experience on the council and are getting this for the first time.
Saying yikes.
Baptism by fire.
Yes. We got to do what? Gosh.
How much?
How much is right? Yeah, that's right. All right.
How did that happen? Oh, geez, she was my friend,
Well,
too. What am I going to do about
We'll
that?
worry about that later. All right, we got to take our first break here in the Coffee and program. More coming up. Comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240. And Melissa, time for a second message from the St. Antoine communities.
So I think I should have flipped my messages because I think I came in a little aggressive.
Came in hot.
I came in a
you.
little hot with my first message lecturing the listeners, and I feel a little bad about that. I finished, and I was like, geez, I really was coming in hard based on how I left my work day yesterday. My name badge is backwards. Thank you for the few people that are watching and not listening. John was letting me know that I had my badge on backwards. So what I should have opened with was something very positive, which is just a huge amount of gratitude to Navigant Credit Union and their team. Last week, we mentioned on the air that they were going to be popping by our campus and setting up an amazing Christmas display for our residents to enjoy from every angle of the property, and they certainly did deliver. And it was a funny day. It was definitely a funny day as
Oh, yeah.
well,
It was,
where
yeah.
we had some electricity issues and we had some like rigging issues, and but that's what
Rigging
makes
up
it
the
fun
lights,
and
baby.
memorable.
12 days of Christmas.
You know,
It's the
so
ring
they
up the
donated
lights.
2 beautiful Christmas displays to have on our property, where the assisted living can view and the long-term care side of the building can view, and then in the back half of the St. Antoine residents for our memory care unit to view. And but I think your team enjoyed it as much as
They
we
did, and I gotta thank Amanda. I mean, you
Yeah.
all know Amanda from the show, who fills in for me, but she really spearheaded that effort. And she goes, "Well, this is what we're gonna do. How much money can I have?" I'm like, "All right, here's your budget." She went, "Okay, good." And she really,
Yeah.
she did a lot with the money, so good
great.
for her.
It was great, and I think you guys were freezing. I will also say
was chilly.
happened to be very. It wasn't a 60-degree day. Oh,
It was
thank
not,
God we didn't
but at
have
least it
today's
wasn't like
weather.
this. Yeah, this
I
is
know,
awful.
but they were freezing. They stuck with it. We didn't think any residents were going to come out. I kind of warned you guys ahead of time,
Yeah.
but we had a
bunch.
decent showing
Yeah.
of folks
Good.
willing to wrap themselves up and come out. And so we just want to say thank you. And that's really what we try to do is community partnerships on both sides, whether we're helping out like Community Care Alliance or some other local charitable organization, or we also receive help from groups like Navigant, and
cer-
so we appreciate that.
It's certainly one of the nice special things that San Antoine Communities has is that feeling of there's always something to do, there's always something to see, and it's not a stagnant. You know, you go in and now you're stuck in your room, and that's all you have.
Yep.
There's things to do. You can go out and do that. The walking path is beautiful. I
Isn't
hadn't
it
seen it
beautiful?
yet. Walking path's beautiful.
That's my
And when we
pet
get the lights all
project,
figured
and-
out, that'll be great.
It is beautiful, and if you haven't been up to St. Antoine Community to check out the walking path or
Yep.
to take a tour, do it. Come out. I'd be happy to walk you around. I'm glad that you guys were able to
Yeah.
spend some time there. Well, I'll wrap it up on that.
All right, very good. Okay. Coffee and program will continue here on ON Radio.
You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better, like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
Did you know you can shop local this holiday season?
And ski and ride free till December 24th.
Shop at Mountainside Ski and Ride at Wachusett Mountain.
Spend $100 or more and get a free lift ticket good through Christmas Eve.
Located in the Wachusett Beach Lodge, Mountainside guarantees lowest prices.
Check us out on the web at wachusett.com.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
We're local and live at 99.5 FM.
It's Coffee In here on ON. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Melissa Smith, Tim Draper, and John Ward. So other things going on. And now it's the sign of the times. We had the issue with the United Healthcare CEO getting shot. And so now CVS here in Woonsocket,
Yeah.
they have removed all the executive photos from their website just in case.
You know, I get that, but
Yeah.
just do a Google search on anybody, and
I
you're going
know,
to find
you're gonna
images.
see
It's
their
not like
heads.
that's going to make the difference.
Okay. Well,
You know?
I'm going to try to make
But
it
to
a
tell you
little
what,
bit-
it is
little more
a
difficult.
conversation that's happening now at all levels of
It is
all public
fascinating.
organizations, and we had the
And
conversation.
all
yesterday.
CEOs must
But-
be really nervous.
They're a little nervous.
But one of the things that maybe is not a conversation but should be is the motivation. It's United Healthcare is one of the lowest rejection rates, and of course, this kid apparently went nuts over these screws in his back. But when I read articles about it, you start seeing the rejection rates, and United's one of the lower ones. The highest one is CVS Health for rejection. So the question is, what should they be doing about their system
Yeah.
to minimize their risk? Forget taking your picture down. Screw the picture.
Right.
Fix the system.
Right.
Fix
Have
the
a
system.
positive reaction to
Right.
it. I think what's fascinating, the whole thing is fascinating. It's unfortunate, of course, that's the obvious, but the following of people that are siding in his
the
favor.
shooter.
You know, just a stupid, simple story in my own house that my husband had a colonoscopy over the summer. And he had to do 2 different tests, colonoscopy and some kind of breathing into a tube thing, right, to detect what's going on with stomach health and whatever. And because he did both at the same time, they denied the breathing one, even though they were ordered by the doctor. He checked ahead of time with our insurance carrier. I won't say names or anything. Did everything, his due diligence that he needed to do to make sure it was going to be covered because he thought it was odd, whatever. Of course, gets denied, right? And so then you're hit with like a $2,000 bill for this breathing thing that he did his due diligence, called and everything. My point in sharing this is the amount of phone calls, and he has been very oddly patient because he normally can't handle this kind of stuff. He has logged how many calls he has. It's 24 calls at this point. He finally lost his cool a couple days ago and was like, I'm done. Like, I can't. Like, I'm never paying this. I'm not paying it. You authorized it, whatever. But you can see where, you know, we have the means to afford that. We could just go ahead and pay it and just wash our hands of it.
That's what they're hoping for.
But that's right. But I think you're right, John. I think it's addressing this in a positive way to spin this would be in the best interest of these insurance companies to say, not to take down the pictures, but own the situation, not justifying it. I'm not saying he was valid in shooting this guy. I'm just saying to listen to the actual story and the reaction of it and change something in the system to prevent more people from following the lead of the shooter.
Yeah.
Because people are exhausted.
I had a local experience, went to get and had post open heart surgery during my rehabilitation. I had bills that came to me electronically, and so for my portion of the bill, and first one I got, I paid with a check, mailed it to them. The second one I said, I'll just use the credit card. So I put in the credit card, pay the bill. 2 months down the road,
They hit the credit card again?
same charge twice. So I tried calling. Well, calling the local gets you the national.
Yep.
National doesn't even know how to deal with this. So then I walk over to the local, park my butt down in a chair, wait to talk with someone, bring copies of the bills, bring copies of the charges, bring copies of everything.
Payments.
Here, you need to give me my money back.
Did they agree?
They agreed, took the
okay.
paperwork. I've never heard anything since. I've written 3 emails. I've called multiple times. No one will respond to me. I'm put on hold and wait and wait and wait. And if I were to really be mean, I would mention who this provider is on the air and blast them. And maybe someday I will.
Okay.
But they simply charged me twice and then did nothing to fix the problem.
What's unfortunate about your situation, and you got reimbursed, and that's great. You got it resolved because you had to go in there in person. But during a time,
I didn't
He
get it
hasn't
reimbursed.
happened yet.
Oh, I thought
They
you
never repaid
Oh,
me.
well, that's
So they just took your
They took the paperwork and said I'll send it
Oh,
over to
and
the
it
office.
hasn't.
Never got paid back.
So I just feel like during a time of like rehabilitation for you, where you should be resting and recovering or whatever, you're having to raise your blood pressure out of aggravation.
and even with my brother now, my my insurance right now pays for certain dental expenses and certain other things that are covered. And when I go there, he submits paperwork, and he said 100% of their applications for reimbursement for payments are denied. It's like an automatic reflex reaction
Yeah.
from the insurance companies. Deny.
Yeah.
Okay, then
want
what do
you
you
to
do?
fight it. Well, you
Well,
fight
we
it.
have to give them a longer explanation. I said, well, why don't you give them that long explanation first? Well, you start doing that, and then they deny that. So you have to give them another longer explanation, because to them it's not about actually paying the claim. It's about filling making pieces of paper go into a folder, I think. And if thus they get to the third piece of paper,
Well,
They don't
figure
do
the more,
anything.
The more they aggravate you, the less you'll be inclined
and they
to
just
do
hope-
anything about it.
And there's probably, like with telemarketing scams,
Yeah.
there's this small percentage of people who will just fall for it. Well, there's a percentage of people who will get it and think they owe it, and they'll pay it, and then the insurance company never has to pay it, and so we win, you lose.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah,
And
I
they're
think
happy to
fatigue
do that.
gets-
And so that's what leads to, and that's why there's so many people that think of him as a hero, because he's done what so many people have in their mind. And trust me, it's in their mind that there are, I guarantee you, at minimum, 1 million people across this country right now, or in the last few days, that have been sitting there saying,
Good for him.
oh, I wish I could have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can even go to the extreme of, you know, your situation, my husband's silly situation compared to your situation, times however many other examples you can throw on the table. But I think about the people who can't afford certain medications because their insurance won't cover it, right? Simple diabetes medications, etc. We have someone at work who's going through cancer treatments right now, was denied the recommended course of treatment, so she's kind of settling with this other option because our insurance carrier won't cover it. All of these examples of people who are just average Joes, and then when you find out that the CEO is making
$31 million.
I
lot
just,
ton of money,
you
yeah.
know,
By
it's
the way,
hard to explain.
$31 million without a security detail.
Right.
How are you
Yeah.
a
walking
CEO
around.
of that kind of organization making that kind of money at 6:30 in the morning, just walking the streets of New York?
It makes me think, when you think of money, it makes me think of the baseball player that just signed with the Mets.
Oh,
and I heard some of the
Soto.
details of his contract, where
Oof.
despite being paid $750 million over whatever number of years,
15.
his contract also calls for 10 trips to the Dominican Republic for 8 people, fully paid by the team. And
As if he can't afford
he's
to pay
got
that.
he's got one of the luxury suites
Yeah.
reserved for him to give to anybody he wants all year on home games. So, you know,
Lots of
when you're
perks.
making that much money,
I don't-
when you make that much money, why do you need to have those things added in?
I don't-
It's pure greed.
I don't blame him at all. That's stupid management. That is. We need to hire these guys, and
It's
they just.
pushing limits too.
It's-
It's like
it's
I
the
can
same-
get,
It's not even real money.
Isn't that the same thing with Thompson? Huh?
Yeah.
It's like the boards let him do it,
Right.
and give it to
Do you
him.
have a note? Did someone call in on this conversation?
Not about this though. So
all
we're
right.
going to get to it in just a minute. But I haven't heard anything where the shooter was denied any medical stuff by
No,
United.
No,
It's just but his surgery was gaffed.
the surgery was
So
gaffed.
why
Apparently, he's struggling
why
with
go
pain.
after United Health? Why not go after the surgeon?
Maybe
So I
he-
don't get it.
I don't know. Maybe because
So it'd be
he's
a lot more uncomfortable in prison.
he's brilliant enough to be able to simply figure out where the guy was.
Okay.
I mean, this was apparently he was in New York a long time before this guys came to this meeting. I'm not sure how he targeted him, but
All right.
however he did it, he had a pretty good plan. That to be effective to do the job, he had a good plan. It wasn't a good plan.
I think more to come. I think we're going to see well, this is definitely
Well, he's
a
fighting
movie.
his
This is a movie,
extradition, so-
no
Right.
doubt in my mind. Someday we will see this on the big screen. But I think that I think there's more to this story that is going to surface.
Yep.
John, maybe you know the answer to this. This is a note that was called in 766-1240. Just talking about assisted living. What has become of the St. Francis House on Blackstone Street?
It's apartments.
It used to house around 50 residents.
It houses renters.
No?
It was
Okay.
turned in. Gary Fernandez took it over. He finished renovating it. It looks beautiful, and
It's not assisted living anymore.
it's either condos or apartments. I'm not sure which, but it's not assisted living at all.
Okay, very good. There's the answer to that. All right, break time here in Coffee Ann, and it's time for the weather forecast. It's going to be great today. Weather
Beautiful.
forecast.
Just look out the window. That's the
It's a
forecast.
10.
Weather forecast brought to you by Allstate Insurance.
The National Weather Service has issued a high wind warning and a flood watch for the Blackstone Valley today, with rain coming, 1 to 2 inches of rain, and 100% chance of precipitation. Patchy dense fog, too. High today around 62. The winds will be the feature you'll remember most about this day, with steady winds over 40 miles an hour and gusts as high as 60 miles per hour late in the day today. Tonight, rain, possibly a thunderstorm. Some storms could produce heavy rain, patchy fog. Low overnight, around 35 degrees. South winds once again gusting over 60 miles per hour, and between 1 and 2 inches of rain possible overnight. Thursday's weather, sunshine and 40. Friday, sunshine and 32. Saturday, sunshine and 34. Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 41 and a calm wind. Monday, a 40% chance of rain and snow, it says here. Mostly cloudy with a high of 47. And on Tuesday, a chance of rain. Partly sunny, though, with a high of 52.
Outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with the cloudy skies and the rain, we've got 37 degrees. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
Rhode Islanders, stay healthy this fall and winter by getting your flu and COVID shots. You can safely get both at the same time. If you have mild symptoms after vaccination, that means the vaccine's working. Your body's learning to fight the virus. The sooner you get your shot, the sooner you're protected. Keeping our small state healthy is a big deal. Call your doctor or pharmacy today or find a clinic at health.ri.gov/vaccine. Brought to you by the Rhode Island Department of Health and the Rhode Island Broadcasters Association.
Hi, I'm Greg Bell, the host of When Radio Was.
I'm Mortimer. Bill. Is that you under that blindfold? Bill, with this thing on, I can't see who I am. No, I imagine not. Can't you see anything at all under that blindfold? On a clear day, I can see the blindfold. You can? Yeah.
When Radio Was, shows from the past for today's imaginations.
When Radio Was airs Monday through Friday, right here on ON 1240 Radio at 11 a.m. and 11 p.m.
It is Coffee In here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan here with Melissa Smith and John Ward and Tim Draper. And Tim, you're on deck here. Well,
Thanks.
No, you're not on deck. You're batting.
I'm batting.
You're batting right now because it's time for a first message
I'll
from
be a
Navigant
swing and a
Credit
miss,
Union.
I'm sure. Just want to remind everybody that Navigate Credit Union does have all of the fancy tools. If you are inclined to want to look at your accounts every day, you can certainly go on to online banking through your computer at home or your phone, and you can look at your account balances, you can transfer money, you can open up new accounts, you can apply for loans, you can deposit checks. If you have a debit card, you can actually control your debit card, whether you turn it on or off, or if you're going traveling, you can tell us where you're going to be through the app, and that way we'll make sure that your card works at those locations. So there's a lot of power to the application that we have for Navigant online. And it's not just mobile, it's not just online banking, of course, it's mobile banking, mobile wallet, where you can store your credit card information in the wallet, and then with one password, and actually with your phone, you can tap and go at many merchants out there. So there's a lot of great features to our online tools and our digital banking program at the credit union. So if you're interested in learning a little more about it, you can go in and see the folks up at Park Square, Christian and his team, or if you just want to look online, certainly a lot of information online, and you can sign up right there. So navigantcu.org is the website, 233-4700. If you want to talk to somebody about it at the contact center in Smithfield, please feel free to do so.
Funny story, Tim. You talk about the technology and things like that, and with retailers. This is like 4 or 5 years ago. If you go old school at the retailers now, you've really got them stumped.
Yep.
Because it was about 5 years ago. I was at that big orange home improvement store.
Yes.
And I had to pay by check.
Yeah.
And they must have called 3 people over.
Really?
What in the world do we do?
Oh my goodness! Well, I have to tell you,
And they kept going up the line
Yep.
of managers, and
Yeah.
finally someone knew. Well, this is how you do it.
this is how you do it. Yeah.
And this is how we accept it. It was so funny.
It's because we're out there, as well as most people in the financial services industry are out there. We're just trying to tell people, cut down on your writing of checks, I mean, it is, check fraud is at its highest that it's been
Still.
in a long
Yeah.
time. Yep.
Okay.
It's largely businesses. We've had several of our big businesses that we work with get hit with check fraud. Somebody grabs a check out of the mail, washes it, and then off to the races. They start writing checks for people, and or they're electronically changing, moving money around. It's not the way you should be doing it in today's day and age, because people can get access to it so easily. You got to have better ways, more secure ways to make payments and
What
stuff.
is your feeling on Venmo?
Oh, we like Venmo.
You like Venmo?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, pretty secure. The Apple Wallet, Apple Pay, Google Pay. I say Apple only because that's what I'm
are
familiar
you
with. but
surprised
Google
there's
Pay.
not a competitor yet for Venmo? Like, I think about that.
Well,
There's just
PayPal-
one platform.
PayPal's
Well,
is
PayPal, I
a
feel like
competitor.
that came and went. I don't
That
know.
was the
it's
original,
Not gone,
but
What
there-
about Zelle?
And Zelle never. So Zelle is owned by banks. I think Venmo, if I'm not mistaken, is owned by like a fintech company.
All right.
Zelle was started by Bank of America, and it's not quite as easy as Venmo to set up and to transfer money. We have an online service called Pop Money. I'm not even sure we're using it anymore. That's bad that I don't know that, but I tend to use Venmo because that's what young people are using.
Yes.
Right, and while it may be, you could make an argument that it's a little more secure to do, Navigant's online tool for institutional transfers, and we do have tools that do allow that, and they tend to be a little more secure because now you're dealing with a bank. Venmo is a little more. The fintech just takes money from one account and puts it in the other. It's an intermediary, really, is what it's doing. It's moving money. And in the process of doing it, unless you ask it to do it overnight, they're going to sit on your money for a couple of days and float it, and that's how they're making their money.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it takes 1 to 3 days to get money into your account. But it's so far we haven't heard a lot of problems with Venmo being hacked or anything like that.
I just have had a
Knock on
terrible
wood.
time trying to explain to my parents to get Venmo.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
and
don't
it's
try- don't
exhausting.
They'll never
and
do
they
it.
are just not, and I'm like, I can't think, I have not heard or been exposed to a reason why it's not safe, especially
Right.
because there's a lot of safeguards within it now where you can add like the last 4 digits
Yeah,
of
you
the
have
phone
to.
number
Yep,
and
you have to make sure
things
to
like
confirm that. Right.
But I just can't get them to jump on the bandwagon.
It's
Can't do it.
They probably won't.
It's our seasoned citizens out there who are more resistant to the technology, and I get it. That's not what they grew up with, and we all grew up, or some of us in the latter part of our
Right.
lives grew up with all this technology.
John, do you Venmo?
No,
There you go. Do you want to learn?
I don't need to.
Oh,
Okay.
there we go.
Well, there you go.
And now you sound like my dad.
there
Yep.
you go.
Well,
And you're not. You're younger than him.
My
Get
wife,
cool,
my wife
John.
does.
Get cool.
My wife does.
Does she?
But I don't have a need to. If there's something that needs to be done that way, she'll do it.
Well, what I will say is
All
that my
right.
husband and I have one. So technically, if she has one
Yeah.
and it's tied to your account,
We
you
have
do
one,
have it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
But
just
I don't use it.
Well, I use it for me. It has become a great tool when we go out to dinners. And if one
Yes.
person wants to pay on a credit card
Yep,
to get
you
the
just Venmo
points,
them.
you go, listen, I'll Venmo you
Venmo
your
the
share.
money.
I don't have to carry cash, which is also good. I don't have to bring a
Yeah.
check. I don't have to have a credit card if I don't want. But
Oh, I've got my credit card on my phone.
right, and you can make those
So I
payments
can
too.
do
That's
you
also
are
Do
cool
a
then.
transaction
Yeah.
on my phone. I have it on my watch.
No, I will
use
just
the
say, and it
watch.
sounds like we're promoting Venmo now, and I feel bad, but that wasn't the intention of the conversation. But I am notorious for being the person who like takes initiative and picks up the gift on behalf
Right.
of people, whether it's like a shower gift or a wedding gift or
I will say the-
siblings for Christmas, and no one ever pays me back. So Venmo in the past has been
A godsend.
a fantastic tool to say like, oh, just Venmo me, whatever,
And they
like
do it.
$50, $100, whatever, and it's a little more versus the time for
Yeah,
them to
that's
write a
that's
check
that's,
or.
that's when my wife got. I'm not sure if it's Venmo or Zelle, what she got, but her and my daughter-in-law, when they come up and they spend some time with us,
Yeah.
my wife just buys the groceries and then they just
Yeah.
transfer cash. in
Like,
and-
like we were talking with Gary Furtado yesterday, Tim. My son and daughter are on my cell phone plan.
Yeah.
So the bill comes to me. So I send out the notice to my son. Okay, $100 for the cell phone,
pay time.
and then he Venmos me it immediately.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is convenient.
The one thing I don't like about Venmo, and I think there's a way to turn it off, is all your friends that you've accumulated over time that you've paid or not paid. It's like
Yeah,
a
you
social
keep
media
you
platform.
keep
So
seeing
you
it.
can see
others.
who's paid what. So
Yeah.
this for so-and-so just paid so-and-so for pizza,
Yeah.
movie tickets, and a
And
coffee.
why do you need to know that?
I don't. But if
That's
you're
right.
if you're a young person, it's how you socialize. It's
Is
how
it?
you
Oh.
know what all your friends are doing.
Well,
Oh,
okay.
there's even more reason for me never to use it.
Right. Gas and
Does it ever
car
show
rental.
anybody paid their hooker?
No, that doesn't. That would be entertainment.
That would be the.
okay.
personal
What I don't
entertainment.
like is how it looks like social media on the
Right.
screen. Is that what you're talking
It's
about?
Venmo.
Cliff?
Is that right?
This is Venmo,
And
yeah.
you're like snooping into how many times my sister-in-law has paid her friend or whoever.
Well, that's
and I'm like,
exactly
That's
right.
what I mean.
That's the only thing.
No, I don't ever. I don't ever
That
care.
alone is
so I
reason
don't look
for me
at
not
that.
to use it.
But I will see
I'm
if
not
I got.
interested
Nope,
in
my
sharing
balance
that.
is 0, so I don't have to transfer anything to anybody. But
You can transfer something to me.
nope.
Let's try it out.
Let's try it out. $1 to Melissa.
All right. Story out of East Providence. East Providence man back in November allegedly assaults his son's school bus driver.
Yeah, I saw that last night.
Because he's saying that the school bus driver assaulted his son and made him cry. So he beats up. Well,
he doesn't beat him
beats
up. He gets
Simple
in his
assault,
face.
battery, disorderly conduct,
Right. He
used
touches
racial
him.
slurs, threatened to harm the driver and his family.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't
Yeah.
do that either.
No.
but,
Right.
but now-
You make my son cry. I'll make your family cry.
Is that
That's what he said.
All right.
And you can hear what the guy said.
Well,
Clear as day.
School buses. I don't know about Woonsocket, but in East Providence they do
They're
video
contractors.
Video.
Oh, they
well,
probably
video
have
posted
video.
on the East Providence Police social media page. They got the footage from
Yeah.
the bus.
Yeah.
Not guilty.
Right. The guy. The guy.
Wow.
I understand if the kid was crying and he did, whatever. You're your father. You want to protect your kid. I get it. But there are ways to do it without jumping up onto the school bus and getting in the bus driver's face, who's seatbelted in, by the
yeah.
way, and threatening him and getting in his face.
There's always the
And screaming
option
at
of
him.
finding out what caused him to do something that would cause the kid to cry, which probably had to do with the kid acting inappropriately.
It could have,
and then maybe
exactly.
the result should have been the mayor sitting his child down and saying, when they tell you to sit down, you stay in your seat.
Right.
Well, that's
Sit
it.
down.
I was yelled at by the school bus driver in
All the
elementary
time.
school.
Yeah.
I didn't cry, but
Well, we didn't live in this fragile world where
No,
every
right.
child
and
is
I didn't.
so
I didn't go home and tell my
protected.
parents that the school bus driver yelled at me.
Right. But that was a
Because- 'cause they
generation
they
where
would have said, "Well, what'd you do?"
What did
Right.
you do?
What did you do?
Yeah. Well, you were wrong.
we used to fear authority.
Yeah.
Our generation feared authority. I feel
They
like
don't
kids
feel
today
authority now.
challenge
Nope.
it. Like,
Challenge
they
it
don't,
all the
I don't like
time.
what you have to say, so therefore,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
just
And the
oh.
entitlement. The entitlement is
Totally.
amazing to me. It just, I don't have to. I'm not accountable for
My
that.
daughter was describing basketball tryouts last week, high school JV. She's a freshman, and she's like, I can't get over how many kids like took themselves out of the tryout, like to sit on the bench and take a break. And I laughed because I
without
thought
the
to
coach
myself, like,
telling them?
during tryouts, right? Like, oh, I need to go sit for a minute. My
You know what?
knee hurts or my
you
back.
don't make the
immediately
team.
off
And
the
it was
team.
always
Yeah,
selected.
you don't make the
Exactly.
team.
And that's what I said. I'm like, back in the day, like that, you could not, you had to
my
push
gosh.
through every ache,
Oh, yeah.
pain,
And then the-
floor burn, everything.
But then
Because
it's those kids' parents who will go and yell at the coach.
Yeah.
Why didn't you? Why isn't my kid selected? They are the star. I said, I'd be like, well, your kid took a break in the middle of
the
practice
convenient
and
knee
sat on
pain
the bench.
happens when
Right.
you don't want to do suicides, and then when the scrimmage picks up, then suddenly,
Oh,
they're
well.
okay. They can do
Yeah.
scrimmage. Wait a minute, what?
Yeah, we don't want to do the actual
So
work.
I don't want
we
to do
just
the
want
hard
to be,
stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, because
right.
who likes suicides? No one.
Oh,
Right.
they're a blast. I love that.
Yeah, right.
But it's true. It's the generation.
It's
right now.
exhausting.
It is.
Wow.
It is.
Now
I'm
I
glad
sound
my
like
kid
my
can
parents.
see it,
Thank
but
you
it's
very much.
it's very hard. Yeah.
Can't believe how much I sound like.
We should just end the show on that note because that's just proving a point. Right? Boom.
I remember watching my son trying out for baseball in high school and watching the other kids. Not that anybody sat down, but there was a kid that was out, trying out for the team, and he was wearing a Dunder Mifflin T-shirt. I'm like, oh my gosh!
Yeah.
if that would have been when I was trying out, my coach, you wearing something non-baseball related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just leave now.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, practice has just started, but go home now because you're not on the team. You're
remember-
not
Yeah.
taking it seriously enough. Just go.
My daughter tried out for softball in middle school for 3 years. And every year it seemed to come down to the last cut on the last day.
Yep.
There was an extra tryout
Yep.
and somebody else would get it.
Yep.
She was devastated. It was awful. I had to go through 3 years of tears and why am I not good enough and blah, 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 blah. And then she gets to high school and she says, I'm going to try out for the softball team. Now, my wife and I looked at each other like, oh no,
Here we go
please
again.
not again. She gets there and the coach says to her, how come you were never on the team in middle school? You're fantastic.
personality.
It's like, okay, so there was a coach issue at that time. That's when
Yeah.
you realize, okay,
You
he
must
just
have
didn't
known
like
that.
it.
Were you just like?
We kind of knew it, but you don't.
You don't say that with your kid, yeah.
Yeah, I went through the same thing with my son.
Yeah.
We had a coach who didn't like me because I was on the school committee, and he got punished for it for 3 years.
It's so unfortunate, and
that's
I
sad.
don't know. You can't. Yeah.
All right, Tim, time for a second message from Navigant, and we'll take a break.
So since we were talking a little bit about the check fraud issue earlier on, let's talk a little bit about the scams that are going on at the holiday season. So make sure there's a lot of simple things that you can do when you're purchasing online and you're using your Navigant credit union debit cards or credit cards, or you're having money transferred from your account to a store account. What you really need to make sure that you're doing is make sure that the numbers are correct that you're putting in the system, particularly if you have to hand enter them into a payment screen, a checkout screen. Make sure that the places that you're buying from are reputable. Now, I've learned, interestingly enough, that even Amazon, who is really just kind of an online retailer, will use companies that are not necessarily Amazon approved. They're allowed to be on Amazon, but they don't necessarily have lots of ratings or reviews. And sometimes they're just coming from parts unknown. So when you order them, it looks like you're getting something from Amazon, and it says you're going to get the delivery on such and such a date, but it's coming from some other country that's going to take a whole lot longer than what they originally promised you. So make sure that you're looking, it'll tell you who the retailer is on an Amazon transaction. It'll actually say it's coming from B&H in New York City or something like that. So you need to make sure when you're looking at that you know where those items are coming from, and that don't just assume that Amazon has them in the warehouse in Johnston. It could be coming from somewhere else. So just a little tip when you're online shopping this year around the holidays, make sure that you're putting in the correct information, and B, you're dealing with the person that you think you're dealing with, and that it's a reputable organization. If you have any questions about those things, again, if you can give us a call, 233-4700, or you can go online and look at some of our online resources to help you navigate through those tricky waters.
Very good, Tim, and more of Coffee and coming up, but we ask you to please stick around.
Every year it seems you need to find a gift for someone and you just stumped. What do you get that one uncle or cousin that you only see maybe twice a year? Well, I have the solution. Everyone loves a gift card from the Beef Barn. Stop into either location of the Beef Barn on Pulaski Boulevard, Bellingham, or Industrial Drive in North Smithfield to purchase a gift card today. You know the receiver will love and appreciate this gift, and you can be certain that the card will definitely be used. Merry Christmas from the Beef Barn.
This is Senator Brian Thompson. In this season of giving, please consider supporting the Milk Fund in their long-standing tradition of supporting those in need. Wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from my family to yours.
Christmas in New York City. The St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center is hosting a bus trip to New York City on Saturday, December 14th. We'll get you to New York, and the day is yours. See the sights, visit a museum, see a show, whatever you like. The day is yours. Tickets are $90, and the bus will leave from the St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center parking lot at 6 a.m. For more information or to reserve your seats, call 401-486-9380.
It's Coffee and on ON. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan here with Melissa Smith and Tim Draper and John Ward. And down in Coventry, Rhode Island, they found human remains out in the woods.
Really?
Like, yeah.
What did that? Wait a minute. Why do I feel like I'm having deja vu? Didn't that happen not long ago in Coventry? I thought you had said a very similar story, or am I just?
I don't remember that.
Remember
police
that?
have not said where or when the remains were discovered, only confirming they were believed to be connected to an older
Like on a
case.
lake? Was
Were
it
the
a lake?
remains of the woman who was murdered in Warwick found in Coventry? That was like a month ago.
Yeah, could be the
There
same
was
thing.
something, and I thought there was a lake out there. There was a couple of simultaneous remains found type stories, and we didn't know if they were all connected. Okay, proceed.
They're not saying this. They
Carry on.
won't say whether or not these things are connected or not. So, it's possible. So I hate when these stories come up because no one who likes going to the dentist. Show of hands. Who likes the dentist?
I hate the dentist.
I mean, I love the dentist. I hate
Oh,
the
the guy.
procedure.
Yeah.
Oh, the people are so
The people,
nice.
the people are
Until
nice.
they start cleaning.
My
Yeah.
hygienist is beautiful and lovely and love her, and she's great, and She starts digging at my teeth. I'm like,
But,
ow. I don't like you anymore.
But then these stories come along. A Long Island woman is charged with practicing unlicensed dentistry from her kitchen.
Oh, well, come on. What fool would go see someone in a...
The Nassau County District Attorney says a victim contacted their office in July after Gladys Serrano, which is going to tell her what her age is just by her name.
Gladys.
Okay. Told her that 5 of her teeth were rotting and proceeded to extract them.
Oh.
She says Serrano handed her paper towels to soak up the blood and told her to rinse with salt water and come back later for bridge work. Serrano, by the way, is 70. That's why you got a name like Gladys. It's just an older name. She has pleaded not guilty.
And?
She was ordered to surrender her passport and has been released with an ankle
John
monitor.
takes offense to that.
Due back in court next month. She could face up to 4 years in prison.
I just want to know what's wrong with being 70.
Well, nothing's wrong with being
okay.
70. It's just, how many 10-year-old Gladyses do you see?
That is true. That is not one of the
it's
hot
just
names
an
in
older
the world these days.
But usually you hear about these kind of stories, and they come from Central America, and there are no dentists or whatever,
Right.
and so they go to someone that says they're a dentist. But and maybe this is a situation here where I can't afford to go to the dentist. I don't have dental insurance, and this person says they can do it, but they're a hack, and
you should ask your brother about that. He probably would.
Honestly, situation like that, I would certainly want them to stay in Nassau to get their bridge work done. Don't come to Rhode Island. We have troubles with.
We have our own
work.
bridge. We get our own bridge work done.
Well, we got our 2 companies.
We got 2 companies now.
that have been
And
selected.
neither of them are Rhode Island based, which I find probably refreshing.
Okay.
You know,
And
I gotta
now
say
we got
something.
6.5 months before we pick the one that's actually going to start doing the work. Yes.
With all of this going on, has anyone yet
The bridge, you mean?
shown the design for the replacement bridge?
No, that's what they do now.
But
Right?
I thought this was the builder. They bid based on a design plan.
No, I don't think I thought that
So they're
Alvedi
bidding,
yesterday
they're
said
bidding to do the job to build a bridge with no plan?
right. He
How do
said
you do
something
that?
about they'll make the decision on 10% of the engineering work being done.
They're going to figure it out as they go.
Yeah.
They're just going to get in there and figure it out.
I'm only wondering because
I think what
there
they're
are
getting
so
on is the
many
process that they
good
need to go
modern
through.
bridge designs. You think of the one like I heard talked about yesterday, the one you go through Connecticut, the new bridge in Norfolk, whatever.
You want a pretty bridge? Is that what you're
Yeah.
thinking? You want a pretty stately looking
want
bridge, something
a
that's going to
bridge
make
that
us
cars
Well, it's just
unique.
it's a design that's commonly used now with the center span and the support.
Oh, the cable stay bridge?
Cable, yes.
Cable stay bridge. Yeah,
That and they have one up in Boston.
Boston,
They have
yep,
one in
Zaka.
Connecticut. I drive Delmarva Peninsula. They have one there, a couple of them there, and you just say, okay, what are these potato heads putting together this time? Because they built the last one to replicate an awkward design that was tough to do. That's now falling
that's-
apart. When are they going to just use their brains and say, let's scrap this and do something
You know
modern?
why? It's because all the historic preservationists around.
Screw
get
them.
all- well, no, but that's not the way you got to do it. Everybody gets all uptight
You
when
want
we
the
want it
right
exactly
aesthetic
what we
going
had.
through that
We want it
bend.
to look beautiful and it needs to fit in with the community. How about being
About
functional?
being functionally efficient,
Right.
and
That-
still
that we can-
beautiful.
that we can
Because
afford.
when I drive through Connecticut in the middle of the night, driving down to Virginia, and that is lit up blue, and it's beautiful, and it's simple in its architecture, and it's effective and efficient, that's what I want.
Yeah, I don't know why. we
And all
can't
you
have that.
historical people that want the $3 million 40-foot bridge in North Smithfield that took 3 years to build, screw you.
Well, John, I don't know if this answers
there's
any.
that.
I don't know if this answers your question, but now both companies will now have an opportunity to review and provide feedback on a request for proposal issued by the DOT. All right, the companies will determine if the feedback results in better proposals, and RIDOT says the feedback will be incorporated into an addendum that will be posted January 24th.
I just wonder if they're going to say, well, you can't have a bridge that doesn't match the design of the other side.
So take them both down?
Yeah, you can. All right?
Yeah.
Just do it right. For once,
You could
please do
put
it
a
right.
cable stay bridge up on the new bridge. It'll look pretty, and the other bridge will just be next to it. What's the problem?
I want to go back to voting this fall. Remember my penny social? With that idea in mind. Now, if someone had said to me, like, okay, let's allocate I don't even know what the project would cost. I'm throwing
$300 million.
$300 million, right, for the bridge to get fixed and redone the right way.
Yes.
And
I predicted 500 million just
for
to do
another
that.
100 million, we can make it kind of pretty. I would throw my pennies into that. I'd like a pretty little bridge to drive
But-
through. If
but
it
when
costs a little bit more, then I would put my taxpayer pennies into that bucket.
The minute they said 300 million, I posted on Twitter, wait for it, it'll be 500. And now it's somewhere in the high 400s.
Probably, yeah.
Well, that includes all the demolition of the old bridge.
Oh, I'm sorry.
By the way, did we have a cheers? It's been a year. Wasn't the year
that's right. It's a
anniversary
year today, I
It's a
think.
year today they closed the bridge.
Yeah,
That was a fun show where we were talking about all the
Oh,
possibilities and the traffic and the ferries and the planes that needed
that's
to
like
be.
the statements being made locally about, well, we're going to reduce the cost of the animal shelter because we're going to take out the landscaping work and do it ourselves. It's like, okay, so does that
leaving it
make
to the
does that
professionals.
make the landscaping work done by city employees free? No.
You know what I wanted to
It just costs you a different amount.
Before we
you
go
take it out
off
of
the
a different
air,
bucket,
I
right.
had a chance to go up to the Blackstone Path and walk the other direction.
Oh, the new segment?
Yes, it's beautiful. I only made it so far, obviously.
But you missed the important and good part. Did you see the beautiful work they did to the bridges that cross the streets in Blackstone that you can't see from the path?
Yeah.
You should have seen the 9 months worth of masonry work that they did to the face of those bridges.
That you can't see.
Even though they were structurally safe, they're not riding trains over them anymore, so there's not tens and tens of thousands of pounds to be held up. There's humans on bicycles, and they did beautiful work
That you can't
beautifying
see.
those bridges that nobody's going to see.
The only thing I would have liked for them to have done, which they didn't do, we didn't go too far into it. We actually went the other direction mistakenly for like 2 or 3 miles, and there was ice, and it was ridiculous. And then we got back to the car, and then we said, "Oh, let's just go check out like kind of the new entrance
Oh, I'm sure it's
waypoint."
beautiful.
So we only made it down a little ways, but in my children era, my little kid era, because it seems like that's really what they're attracting, because the way that it winds down, there's a beautiful playground off to the left right behind the Blackstone police station, so it kind of connects over there. There should be a little access point to cross the street to Dunkin' Donuts. Like if I have a carriage or something and I want to like go out for like a nice little walk with my kid and my dog, there's a little dog going to the bathroom area, there's the playground for the kids, and now I'm thinking I'd like a little iced coffee and a little maybe munchkin for my kid. I just want to be able to pop over. They didn't really account for that, but other than that, I think it's great.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it's
And
beautiful.
beautiful.
It was
I
very
can't-
well done.
I can't wait until 2100 when they finish the path through Woonsocket.
Have you gone up there at all, Tim? It's
have
really
not.
it is really worth going up there. It is quite beautiful. They did a very nice job.
Well, I'm not going today.
No,
that's for sure.
All right.
No, I wouldn't go today.
Well, I was going to say the tree cover would keep you out of the rain, but the tree cover's gone, so
Yeah.
you would
All
be
right.
getting very wet.
Joe,
All right,
Joe
you want a
needs to
good
rope us in.
you want a
Yep.
good story?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, just
you
keep
want
going with the bad
garbage?
stuff.
Oh, okay. University of South Florida has just graduated its second youngest student in school history, 16 years old.
Really?
Yes.
Doogie Howser?
Bailey Aguilar doesn't even have her driver's license yet, but as of this week, she got a college degree.
Genius.
She graduated high school at 13. She got her associate's at 15, and now she has her bachelor's in biology. And next,
Okay, she was the second youngest.
yeah,
Who was the youngest? I
well,
wonder?
it doesn't say. But up next, she's off to veterinary school. She wants to one day become a vet.
For her.
At 18. I don't
At
know.
18.
Yeah.
Oh God, what do you
Good
do
for
with a
her.
kid like that? Imagine if your kid's way smarter than you, way more brilliant than you.
Melissa, all 3 of my kids are way smarter than
And
me.
mine
That's
too,
all right.
but I
I'm
mean
good with
that level of smartness. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Hey, you never even get to the Bill Belichick coaching North Carolina conversation
yeah.
He
today.
hasn't been hired, so
Well, he's got to be.
you think so?
Imagine if he's not. That's what I keep thinking.
I just
What
think
does
it's
that
funny
mean for him if he's
I think
not?
that it's funny that
Why
he
did you
walked
wanna
in
go
with
to
a
college?
400-page manifesto of how you coach
In
and
college?
his program. Yeah, did you hear that story?
No,
If I'm on a board there making that decision, the first question
much money
that
does
goes
he
through
want?
my mind is, and the question I would ask him sitting across the table is, "You're 72. Why are you here looking for a freaking job?
Well, I think that he's in
He wants
my
to
mind.
coach.
Go play golf."
I've won Super Bowls. Wouldn't it be cool to win a
A
national,
national championship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and I got North Carolina's a pretty good program. I guess he went in and said, "Listen, these are the people I'm going to hire. This is the
right.
structure of the organization that you need to have in order to make that successful.
Uh-huh.
Here's how much I would like. Here's how much you're going to pay those coaches if you hire them." And this is what we are going to do under my rule, which is essentially what his 400-page Bible of how to do this program was that he gave.
Would it work with such younger people?
And he didn't like Mac Jones. I'm not sure how he's going to get to how he's going to relate to young people.
I know.
At 72 years old.
Well, how much more valuable would they be to sponsors who could pay the best football players to come to the school?
Right, and now you've got
because they get paid nowadays.
I know they
and now
do.
you've got a 9-time Super Bowl winning coach coming to your program. Just think of the draw that's going to bring.
Would it be fun if he and Nick Saban coached together? Wouldn't that make a good, really cool story?
Who would be in charge?
I don't
Well,
know.
wait a minute. How good a coach was he when Brady wasn't there?
Oh, he was horrible.
Oh,
Well, but
There's
an
that,
argument for
too.
That the players got worse.
Well, it's because he was picking them. So how good can he recruit?
yeah. All right. Let's not
All right, we
characterize
gotta
it as
go, though.
coaching. Let's
We're taking
characterize
away
it
from
as
the
his
next-
Community
management
Caroline's
of picking
supposed to be
players.
All right, we got to run. How well can he check out high school players? I don't know. All right, we got to run. So thank you very much for listening in, John Ward. Thanks for coming.
Hey, pleasure to be here. Go out there. Wait a minute. Survive the God-given day.
All right, very good, very good. Tim Draper, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, Melissa Smith, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. See you next week.
All right, this is Joe Callahan. Stay tuned for Community Care Alliance coming up next here on ON Radio.
Hope you have your
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON